My name is Dr. Colin Suku, and you can have your seats, and I'm the research officer for the United National Congress. I will be a chairperson for this evening's program, but before I introduce the next speaker, I need to ask a question. Are you all satisfied with the Rowley-led PNM government? I didn't hear that. Are you satisfied? Who is going to lead us to victory? Let me see it for a political leader. Come on, somebody. Our next speaker is a councillor of the electoral district of Caparo Mamaral, and he's been involved as an activist since 1995. And he serves as the Assistant Secretary on the Caroni East Constituency Executive. Help me welcome John Lazama. Everybody, come on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable political leader, members of parliament, councillors, aldermen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good night and welcome to La Hoqueta Talparo. Ladies and gentlemen, as I look around from where I stand here tonight, I am feeling a great sense of to have this joy and happiness in my heart for the amount of people we have here tonight. And for that, I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a quote that says, "Those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it." You see, I use this quote because of the numerous things this PNM government have done, or in any case, haven't done. So, since taking power in 2015, for this reason, I want you to do not forget it. I will touch on a few things that I want you not to forget. One is flooding. In 2017, we had two major floods, June and October. The Burgesses of Caparo Mamaral suffered tremendous losses. Obviously, you think the ODPM and the central government would step in as soon as it was possible. Well, that did not happen. However, thank God for the hard-working UNC chairman and the councillors from the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation and our disaster management unit. We were able to distribute hampers, hot meals, mattresses, cleanup operations, along with assessments. I say assessment. Lo and behold, when you think that every Burgess would be compensated, that did not happen. Some got, but the people who suffer tremendous losses are still waiting on compensation. It may never come. But it is alleged that these supporters of the other side, who suffer little or no damages, was compensated. Do you believe people living on hill suffer flood? That is what. I want to touch briefly on infrastructure. In 2015, two bridges started under the People's Partnership Government in Mamaral. To date, those two bridges remain incomplete. I hope so. By the way, Mamaral have only seen infrastructure works between 2010 and 2015. Under the then Minister of Works, Dr. Suroj Rambachan, and I believe Dr. Rambachan should be commended for those works he did up there. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things as councillor for that electoral district that I am partnering with to get things done. For instance, the Memorial Preschool and the Memorial RC School. A tour is being arranged between myself and a commercial bank to give the school a facelift and added facilities to the school and the area. I myself as a councillor, with what little money I get, I give hampers on a monthly basis to the less fortunate in the area. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware no funding was given to the corporation to do any development works after September 2017? This is March. However, despite the lack of funding, we are doing the best that we can. From December 2017 to now, over 800 streetlights were repaired. Just Friday alone, 77 streetlights were repaired in Memorial. That exercise usually starts at 5 a.m. Before I go, there are some urgent projects I call on this government to please undertake and complete. Have the Caparo Memorial rivers clean before the rains fall. No rivers was clean after 2015. Completion of the Memorial bridges. The completion of the Flanagan Tongue Primary RC School. And by the way, this Prime Minister called me a 2x4 councillor because the people protest. But let me tell him, I am not 2x4 councillor, I do 4 works. I am 4x4. And all the UNC councillors are 4x4. Ladies and gentlemen, as I take my exit, remember the words of the former Prime Minister and leader of the United National Congress. He ends by saying, stand tall, long live our political leader and long live the United National Congress. I thank you.
Let's give it up once more for our 4x4 councillor, Councillor John Lezama. And Councillor Lezama had a very difficult task to bring some sort of sanity back to the lives of the people in Caparo. We all remember the floods of Diwali last year. The next speaker is a dynamic young lady who was born into a family who dedicated their lives to politics. Her husband served as a UNC councillor at the Kuva Tabaki Talpa Regional Corporation, and now she has followed suit. She wears a number of caps. She's also a director at the Agriculture Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's put our hands together and welcome the councillor for Las Lomas San Rafael, Councillor Balmati Gosai.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Political Leader, members of the Executive of the UNC, MPs, Senators, members of the media, my brothers and sisters, good evening. Now we can do better than that. We are in Las Lomas. Good evening. People often say that we, the politicians in the opposition, only complain and we offer little solutions. Tonight, I give you the solution to a collapsing economy, to a crumbling society, a solution to a better life out of this shroud of misery that has been with us since September of 2015. Our lives have become a burden of taxes, crime, unemployment, violence, and hopelessness. I can go on and give you a list of plethora of problems, my brothers and sisters. But let me give you the solution. The solution starts with putting the PNM out of office. We have to regain power, and only then can everyone in TNT see some level of prosperity returning. The solution is to say no to the PNM, a government of taxation, a runaway donkey causing misery. I am your local government representative for the Las Lomas San Rafael area, and needless to say, many of you will remember the flooding that took place last year. Well, brace your back, buy a load of sand, and start making sandbag. PriceMart have kayak selling for only $700. I suggest you invest in purchasing one of these. Stock up on canned food as the rainy season starts in just 3 months' time. Let me tell you why we have to do that. We at the Couva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation have begged the relevant authorities to start clearing the water courses. We have begged the minister to clean the drains, and nothing is being done. We are not getting our major water courses clean before the rainy season. This government is squandering money left, right, and, well, not in central or south, but everywhere else, doing nothing. I need not talk about the monies they spend on a boat, what you call it, the gallon salvage, or something like that, or a gallon pan, something. And that cannot reach here yet. We can go on and on. Look around you. The infrastructure is crumbling. The roads and drains are falling apart. The road to the airport is littered with potholes. When you're going on to the airport, you have to zigzag, right? Schools are not getting supplies. Principals and teachers are sending children home with raffle sheets to beg parents. Some of them don't even have a job. They're begging for a handout to run the schools. These problems are not only happening in Central and Environ, but throughout the country. But as I make room for the speakers, and of course our beloved leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, I bid you good night, be blessed and be safe.
All right, could you all stand to your feet? Let me see you all stand to your feet. Come on, come on, come on. Are you UNC and proud? Are you UNC and proud? Come on. The next speaker is the chairman of the La Joqueta Talparo constituency. He is a former student of Queen's Royal College and is presently pursuing an executive master's in sports management. He is the councillor of Longdonville, Talparo, and also the vice chairman of the Couva Tabaki Talparo. Could we welcome Councillor Ryan Rampasad? Let me hear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Suku. Now, in La Joqueta Talparo, we would have had 5 excellent years of representation from 2010 to 2015. And as I look in front of me, I see our hero who was here with us during those years. Let's put it together for our former Member of Parliament, Mr. Jairam Simangal. And he served us well under the People's Partnership government. Just a couple days ago, there was a meeting, a PNM. It seemed like a wake actually, just a couple people, but they called it a meeting. And I heard a lot of misinformation being spread at that meeting. At that meeting, both the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister indicated that we did not do anything really during the years 2010 to 2015 in the East-West corridor. And I am here tonight to refute that. And if I am to give you all the projects we did just in La Joqueta Talparo, we will not go home tonight. So I'll summarize it for you. But just before I do that, there was another meeting a couple of weeks ago, a public meeting at the La Joqueta Regional Complex. The PNM met there. And they also spread some misinformation there. We have a little video that I want to start with, and then I'll continue after. So please pull up the video.
Whether you are from Todd's Road, where the refurbished community center was reopened and lights recently turned on in the recreation ground.
So we have two main recreation grounds in Todd's Road. This is one. And as I pan across the length and breadth of this field, there is no indication of any infrastructure to facilitate lights. There are no poles, there are no lines, there are no lights. This is the second recreation ground in Todd's Road. It is at the corner of Caparo Brasso Main Road and Todd Station Main Road. And once again, you can see there is no infrastructure for any lights. This pole here facilitates 3 street lights, and this has been here since Councillor Sahade Ubundu's days. This is about 10 to 15 years ago.
Or you are one of those who travel from Tamana to Mundo Nuevo, where the roads have been resurfaced.
This is the Tamana Junction. I'll take you on a drive en route to Mundo Nuevo from Tamana and show you the condition of the road. This is in the vicinity of light pole 548. We can see a landslip is developing here, and the Ministry of Works are using bamboo pickets to hold up this section of the roadway. This is one section of the Tamana Road that needs some attention. This is in the vicinity of light pole 556 along the Tamana Road. More sections of the Tamana Main Road, where Camille has claimed that the Minister of Works has resurfaced this road.
Like every other constituency in Trinidad and Tobago, there's still a lot of work to be done,
Tell them wicked people, fire go burn them, fire go burn them. Oh Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go burn them, fire go burn them.
You hear lie? That is lie. Are we not taking that so? We're not going to allow these people to peddle misinformation out there. So I want to invite Ms. Camille Robinson Regis to take a drive up on the Tamana Road and make sure she secures her hair well, because the road is very bumpy. It could easily fall off, right? I want to go into some of the projects. Because my colleagues before me lamented all the problems we are facing in the constituency, flooding and landslips and so on. We had 2 brand new bridges that were built in the Talparo and Tamana area. Magnificent structures. What did this do? This opened up access to a lot of agricultural lands. Prior to the construction of these bridges, mobilization for farmers to prepare lands were very expensive, because you had wooden bridges. Previous MP Mongol remember the cries of the people. We could not get lowboys and excavators across these bridges. It cost farmers thousands of dollars. Farmers were so frustrated that the lands were not cultivated. This opened up. In fact, we had a number of farmers groups opening in the area, not just individual farmers. So we built 2 bridges very close by on the Tamana Main Road, Talparo Main Road. Another major intervention. I remember sitting in the Caparo sub-office, and a gentleman from Todd's Road, Mr. Tularam, came to the office and said, we do not have a proper transportation service in the Todd's Road and Talparo area. Now, in Talparo, we have a lot of riggers, and their main place of employment is in Point Lisas. How do you get to Talparo, from Talparo to Point Lisas? You have to travel to Arima. From Arima, take a transportation to go to Curep, then to Shoguanas, then to Point Lisas. That is almost your day's salary in passage there. Immediately, this is what I saw with my own eyes. The MP pulled out his phone, called the then chairman of PTSC, Devant Maraj, and indicated, we want a trial run with a bus from Shoguanas to Talparo. Within 2 weeks' time, there was a bus service that continues up to this day and services the people of Talparo. From that time till now, you also have students from Talparo RC School and Mundo Nuevo RC School who can venture into Presentation College in Shoguanas because they have a route, a new route from Talparo through Todd's Road into Central. This is the kind of service and representation we had. all that fell down after September the 7th, 2015. All of that. We had new pavilions constructed in Mundo Nuevo. We had a new pavilion constructed in Brazil Village. The ironic thing is that the present member of parliament did a big opening ceremony on sometime in October 2016. It was just prior to the local government election. And he opened it with much fanfare as though he had constructed it. But the people, they know better, the people from San Rafael and Brazil. We had people, including myself, coming from the Todd's Road community, never had water, a pipe-borne supply of water. And the name Sonalal Road rings so aggressively in our ears because they never had water. Ruston Road, Fletcher Road, Libla Road, Kokoloko Road, Babulal Road, Stephen Road, Hall Street, Maple Drive, Baliram Drive, Paltu Trace, Dan Trace, Todd Station Main Road, Las Lomas number 3 South, Governor Trace, Las Lomas. New pipelines for the very first time. You see, right now, we're in the dry season. I would have had to go to the springs in Dan Trace to fetch water. That is a thing of the past, and that is because of the People's Partnership Government. And I'll go further. Not only did we run the pipelines, we went further than that. We did not allow the contractors to just pave that little trench that they would have excavated. Our then MP would have asked the Minister of Public Utilities to find the funding and pave the entire roadway. What we had coming after that was box trains in the Wall Street area, Libla Road, Kokoloko Road. We had quite a lot of projects. Major intervention in the Mundo Nuevo area. Mundo Nuevo, we met 26 landslips in 2010. We fixed about 25, and when we demitted office, we left about 26 landslips again, because that is an area where the soil is shifting all the time. Now I'll tell you something. We have so many problems within the constituency, but we at the Kuva Tabekit Talpa Regional Corporation, under the chairmanship of Councillor Henry Awong, we are trying to find ways to serve the people, even though we have limited funding. And I'll give you an example. Under the leadership of Kamala Prasad Bisesta, when she was Prime Minister, she looked after those who would have fallen through the social safety net. We had this program called Starter Houses under the URP and self-help and so on. In every community, you will have these families who just cannot afford to do it on their own. They just can't afford to do it. These programs are a thing of the past. And I'll tell you something. My chairman, Henry Awong, is a visionary. He created a committee, a new committee called Social and Community Welfare Committee. Outreach, sorry. And this was to facilitate that gap that was left by this present government when they scrapped all these programs. Just about a month ago, 2 little girls, Rihanna and her sister, Sabrina, they were abandoned by their parents, and they are now taken care of by their grandparents in the Flanagan Town area. We visited that family, Chairman Awong and myself, and another of other individuals who I'll mention. And you know what we are doing? We are building a brand new home. We at the regional corporation, we are supplying the labor and the equipment, and we partnered with an NGO, Mr. Zahir Ali and the Hope for Life Foundation. Thank you all very much for your intervention. They are doing a wonderful job. And we are building a home for these children. We are utilizing our labor. You know why? Because your taxpayers' dollars could very well go to waste if we don't efficiently utilize the labor. We are not receiving funding at the regional corporation. We don't have material to build box trains or anything like that. So we are doing something for a humanitarian cause. And this is what we are doing. We are finding ways to get things done. We are the alternative government. This government, they have fallen down. They have failed us. La Hawketa Talparo is without representation. And we are coming to take back, and we are coming to rescue the people of La Hawketa Talparo. Good night, my UNC family.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The United National Congress has a plan of going forward. Do you agree with me? We in the UNC, we do not believe in bad representation. Unlike our present government, we do not have our constituents saying that we are lying. Our next UNC speaker is Senator Tahaka Obika, and he is the holder of a BSc in economics from the UWI St. Augustine campus. He has an MBA in finance, and he holds posts of economist, lecturer, and head of operations at a local financial institution. He is committed to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and to bringing victory for the UNC. He hails from Point Fortin. Help me welcome Senator Obika.
Good night, Alparo. Under the Dr. Keith Rowley PNM government, are you feeling good? So, there's a tradition in Trinidad and Tobago called call and response. So I'm going to call a ministry, and if they succeed, you say so. If they fail, you're saying failure. Tourism, sport, education, health, trade, Ministry of Works. There you have it, a failing grade. Not only the United National Congress, but the Trinidad Guardian of all newspapers gave them a failing grade for this government. The advisor, the economic advisor, Dr. Farrell, resigned, saying they are not listening to my advice. He said 90%, over 90% of the policies and procedures to transform the economy, they have ignored. They have thrown it away. And the new head of the Economic Development Advisory Board, Dr. Malinats, an economist as well from the University of the West Indies, gave them a D for disappointment. After D, the only letter after D in the academic scale is F. Because you don't get an E, you don't get anything else. You get an F. So she was being kind to them. So in essence, this government has failed in every single aspect that you can use. And I'm now being reminded there's a U for ungraded. When it's water more than flour. I want to recognize, and you can help me by recognizing with your applause, MP Dr. Tiwari, MP Indar Singh, MP Charles. And of course, we have Mayor Budan and Chairman Awong and all the members of the National Executive. And we save the best for last. We save the best for last. Jairam Simangal, former member of parliament, former minister. Now, my job here is simple. I came from Point Fortin. I like this community, and it grieves me to know that I have to be the bearer of bad news, because I have to talk on the economic performance of this Keith Rowley-led PNM government. So don't hold me to ransom because of the things that I'm going to say and share with you tonight. But it is my duty to so do. That is a next matter for another speaker. So when you talk about the economy, really and truly, the bottom line is how you feel. All right? So I'm not going to give 100% technical presentation today. I'm going to break it down so that you can understand how you feel. Everything boils down to how you feel. How you feel about jobs. You feeling good? The other things may need some explanation. There is a debt situation in the country. We are approaching crisis levels, over 60% debt. Import cover. The non-energy sector is declining. That is everything else except oil and gas and petrochemicals. That is the supermarket sector. That is the the small business, the manufacturing, construction, those things are not doing well. And we have the energy sector. And there's one thing I will say about the energy sector, so I will start there. Because according to the Central Bank Economic Bulletin, and this is the only time that my presentation will be nice. According to the Central Bank Economic Bulletin of March 2018, in the short to medium term, the economy is expected to improve due to an upturn in the energy sector. And I will tell you why. National crude oil production increased by 3.8% year on year over the third quarter 2017. Output increased to over 70,000 barrels of oil per day. This increase came from BPTT, who added new condensate production through its Juniper startup. You remember that? This is one of the main projects, one of the main results of the People's Partnership Government under the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisasa. So, just to give you an idea, when you see the graduates coming back to your community, they didn't start at UE. They started in the homes, in the communities, when the neighborhood was saying, you see that fella, he going to be a doctor, he going to be a lawyer. Let me help him, let me make sure he goes where he's going. So it didn't start in 2 years or 3 years, that young graduate's journey. Just like that, the graduation of our energy sector into what you see in Juniper and Truck and the other platforms was a result of People's Partnership taking the hard decisions from 2010 to 2015. And you must applaud our political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisasa, for that. So this government, under Keith Rowley, instead of being grateful and telling the population the truth, thanks to Kamla Prasad Bisasa, SC, and her government for taking those decisions to bring the energy sector on a positive outlook. Instead of doing that, they look for some aspect to blame, bringing bad information, false accusations against the government. The Central Bank Economic Bulletin goes on to say that natural gas production, so that was oil. We are a gas-based economy. More than oil at this time, was boosted by the startup of the Juniper platform, the same Juniper platform. I'm breaking my presentation to the technical part and the other part. So I'm giving you the hard facts now. This caused the gas production to increase by 13.7%. That is a significant increase. The midstream activity, so that's when you dig this stuff out of the ground, that is already there. That now has to feed into the production, which creates more jobs in Point Lisas, in Labidco, for our young graduates and our seasoned professionals. It improved the availability of natural gas, resulted in increased production of natural gas liquids by 27%, while LNG production rose by 23.9%. That is significant increases. As a result, this country is looking better in the energy sector, and it's simply as a result of the decisions taken and the policy of the People's Partnership Government. Another thing they like to say that there's no money. There is no money. The central bank also gave another aspect for you to think about. Higher energy and non-energy receipts underpinned an improvement in central government accounts. And the preliminary estimates of the Ministry of Finance shows that central government incurred a deficit of 228 million in the first quarter of fiscal year, that is October to December, compared with one of 2.4 billion in the same period in the last year. So what does that mean? The deficit, so you make this amount, but you spend this amount. So what you have to find in terms of borrowing is this amount. Last year, the amount you had to find was 2.4 billion. Now the amount you have to find is 240 million, 1/10 of that. So if last year you made a certain amount of money, but to send it into university, you had to find $25,000. But this year, you only have to find $2,500. Isn't this year better than last year? And if the reason for that was because of the work of the former administration, who is to be applauded? Not the People's Partnership, not the United National Congress? Good. So, I have a long presentation, but time is short. So I'll go to some key areas that will resonate with you tonight. Now, we have an organization in this country called SWIMCOL, Solid Waste Management Company Limited. They are responsible for the recycling efforts in this country. Now, under the last budget, you had significant measures. Measures they brought to tax. Remember that? Tax, it was a taxing budget. They had the tire tax, $20. They had the property tax. You had VAT in the previous budget. So you are paying VAT on every single item that you buy in the supermarket. Before, under the leadership of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, significant items were exempted. So if you're going to buy basic food stuff, you didn't pay VAT on that. You paid VAT on things that you could do without. So if you really want that, you pay a little more. But under this government, they say they're reducing VAT from 15 to 12. But what they do is they bring VAT on all those other items that you're accustomed paying a certain price. So they raise your food bill. But the tire tax, I want to get back to that. That affects every single citizen, because to come here, we don't use horse and carriage. We use transportation, a vehicle. We use either a maxi, a taxi, a bus, or a car. All right? So when you have to pay more for the tire, then that increases the cost of that person's service to you. Where is that money going? In a Joint Select Committee of Parliament, the boss of SWIMCOL, the CEO of SWIMCOL, said that no money has come to them from this tire tax. This government must account to the people where the money gone. Because you see, they have this fantasy with taxing the population and lying to the population, that they would tax you and not use the tax for the purpose that it's supposed to be. Under the People's Partnership, the vision was to take these funds and create more employment using the revenue from shredding tires, using that to create more sustainable jobs. You're saving the environment and you're creating jobs. It's a benefit. But what you have under this government is you're paying more and you're getting less. That is what they mean. More from less. You pay more and you get less. Another thing I want to point you to in the time I have remaining is some of the other measures that they brought that they said would transform the economy. But under the Central Bank Economic Bulletin, the same central bank in this country, so this is not the United National Congress, the central bank has said that the non-energy sector is going down. What is the non-energy sector? All the jobs in the country. So, there's so much to say on this country in terms of the economy, but I want to leave you with how the People's Partnership under Kamala Prasad Bisesa planned to diversify. We talked about the blue economy, that is the maritime sector. Talk about the green economy, that is agriculture and everything on land, making it sustainable so that you can have a Trinidad and Tobago to enjoy in the future. And the silver economy, our citizens are living to a much riper age. People are not retiring anymore in the true sense of the word. So it is important to get those persons to be active participants in the country. Under the People's Partnership, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, sport was important. And I want to share a story to leave you with, to show you the benefits of long-term vision. When you go up and down the highway, you see in Kuva, you see the plant that was left by the last government, by us. You have the cycling velodrome. You have the aquatic center. You have the cricket facility. There's a hotel in Central, in Clarkson Bay. And when you go to that hotel, they say their occupancy normally is 60% at certain times of the year. But because of that facility, They are at 100% capacity. What means they have no rooms available. All the rooms are fully booked. Simply because under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, she took the hard decisions, used the money wisely, and developed sport tourism for Trinidad and Tobago. The problem, and I will leave you with this, the PNM under Keith Rowley is under pressure. They are under pressure. They are incompetent. They lack leadership. They lack vision. But come what may, when the election bell rings, the UNC is ready to take this country back and forward into the future. Thank you very much.
Let's give it up once more to Senator Tahaka Obika, hailing all the way from Point Fortin. And as you know, he's one of our new senators. Recently, when he was given a presentation in the Senate, I remember seeing on social media, blazing up, like this man is made for this. So let's give him a round of applause once more. When we were planning this Monday night forum for La Hawkita Talparo, we promised to give you something spicy, something good, something enjoyable. It's like a nice hot doubles. So earlier on, you got the bara, you got the chana, you got the sweet sauce. Now you're going to get the pepper. And it's not slight pepper, but a hot pepper, right? It's a joy to listen to the gentleman. And I'm sure those in the PNM quake when they see him enter the parliament. Let's put our hands together and welcome Member of Parliament for Princess Down, MP Barry Padarat.
Brothers and sisters of the United National Congress, welcome to the House of the Rising Sun. I'm advised that our political leader has just joined us, so I ask you to stand and welcome the best Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago has ever seen, and the Prime Minister incoming, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Wave your rags, wave your flags, blow your whistles as we signal the arrival of the best Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago has ever seen, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa.
us the strength and the will and the power and the courage to handle our problems through him. So on the count of four, I want everybody step on their problems. One. Feel
take your seats. Brothers and sisters, it is a great night to be here in the battleground constituency of La Horquita Talparu. You see, we are in preparation mode. We are in preparation mode to return our party to the corridors of power, starting right here in La Horquita Talparu. My brothers and sisters, you and I both know that our country is facing its darkest hour under the wicked People's National Movement led by Dr. Keith Rowley. From Tobago East to La Horquita, from Tobago West to Lebre, from Diego Martin West to Siparia, this administration wants you to get it right. They tell you that no one is suffering. Well, hello. What world are they living in? Jerlene John will tell you Marie Antoinette, also known as Shamfa Kodjo, speaks of almond milk and yogurt. Webster Roy living in her ivory tower in Victoria Keys. Meanwhile, all the people are suffering. Brothers and sisters, it is a very great night to be here. A few nights ago, the PNM was in Diego Martin for a town meeting. Imbert spent 30 minutes speaking about how the economy is turning around. He said thousands will get jobs. Do you believe that? When thousands have been placed on the breadline. He said businesses are thriving. You and I both know both here and in Tobago, businesses are closing down. He spent 30 minutes responding to the 1% who has called for the devaluation of the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Prime Minister Keith Rowley spent 1 hour when he was not complaining about Kamla and the partnership. He said that he knows that they are unpopular, but that he must administer better medicine to the population. But you see, friends, it was really Camille Robinson-Regis who I think drank a little too much Balizé juice that night. You see, brothers and sisters, on that night, Camille unashamedly tried to take paternity for people's partnership projects in the area of sport. Remember, it was your UNC under Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, under your People's Partnership government, delivered the National Aquatic Center, the Cycling Velodrome, the Racket Center. I want to tell Camille tonight, the only racket center that you have delivered is the People's National Movement that continues to be an incompetent government in this country. You see, all they had to do when they came into office was cut ribbon, turn keys, and put water in the swimming pool. My friends, Camille totally falsified the truth. I could not believe my ears. But you see, perhaps on that night, her wig was a little too tight. My friends, let us deal with the sports policy that Camille Robinson-Regis spoke of. You see, in the absence of a romping sport minister, Darrell Smith, Camille went to talk sport in Diego Martin West. She spoke about the government's policy with respect to Olympic winners. You know, sometimes I wonder if they are living in the same world that we are living in. While they went to tell you how they will reward Olympic medalists, you had just a few weeks ago several Olympic medalists and athletes, including Isaiah Kanhai, Kellyanne Batiste, Richard Thompson, saying to this country, listen, you have given us no funding since 2015 under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. But today you want to tell us about how you will reward us? So how are you preparing us to get to the stage of meddling? But you know, that is nothing new. We have always said that is typical PNM style, putting the cart before the horse. My friends, recently in the parliament, Darrell Smith came and he gave us one long list of athletes who have medaled in 2017. He said it was the best year for sport. They went so far as publishing a full-page ad, taking out advertisements in the electronic press. Do you know before the ink could dry on the advertisement, Isaiah Kanhai, Richard Thompson, Kellyanne Batiste came out and said, listen, take me off those advertisements. I am in no way associated with the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs because you have given us no funding and you played no role in us meddling at these events. If that is not shame, propaganda, lies, and mama guy, I do not know what is. My friends, I want you to listen to what Richard Thompson, our Olympic medalist, had to say. He didn't say this about a member for Sapari, I know. He said this about the Keith Rowley-led administration. He said if, and I'll give you the date, it was February 18th, 2018. Olympic medalist Richard Thompson said, the worst minister of sport this country perhaps has ever seen is Darrell Smith. He said if Darrell Smith continues to remain as Minister of Sport, then the athletes will be continued to be treated with scorn and disdain. My friends, that is the leadership of Prime Minister Keith Rowley. Let us turn to the issue of accreditation of the Brian Lara Stadium. We spoke to you before that stadium was opened in 2017. I told you that stadium had no accreditation. They were putting people's lives at risk. $1 billion spent, 90 million additional, $4 million to open the Lara Stadium. 10 months later, no accreditation. That is leadership Keith Rowley style. I want to tell you what Darrell Smith had to say in the parliament in June of 2017. In response to a question, Darrell Smith said, in 2 short months, the process will be completed and the stadium will have accreditation. But I want to share with you what Noel Garcia, the chairman of UDICOT, had to say when questioned about the accreditation. You know, we had a very great chairman in the person of Jerlene John at UDICOT. She was someone who got things done. Listen to what Noel Garcia had to say on April 27th, 2015. In the Trinidad Express, Garcia said, he said that it was a simple process and that no later than July 2017, the facility would be accredited. You hear lie? That is lie. You see, my friends, no one-day matches, no test matches could be played at the stadium because it does not have ICC accreditation. I am advised that the ICC has already signaled to the government, and Darrell Smith and Keith Rowley must tell this country whether or not they lied to us when they said in 2 short months we will get accreditation. I am advised the ICC has already signaled that further monies will have to be spent if, not when, if their stadium was to be accredited. That is money spent by your Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, while Couva Children's Hospital remains unopened. My friends, I turn to an area that many of you would have seen yesterday. It says, sex suit settled. When you open the newspaper, you see a picture of the Minister of Sport, but you see a picture of myself. And the caption says, "Question not allowed." If we cannot ask a question inside of the parliament, we will ask it outside of the parliament. Tonight, under Prime Minister Keith Rowley, I ask, who is the high-ranking ministry official fingered in this sex suit settlement? I ask, is it true that it is the former personal secretary of Minister Darrell Smith who brought this action? I ask, why is it taxpayers' money being used to settle these matters under non-disclosure agreements? Is this the respect for women from the government, or is it a case of follow the leader, 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 follow the leader? My friends, this government has one SC. We had two. We had Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who was a really and is a good lawyer. We had Anand Ramlogan, SC, a really good lawyer. But you see, Camille Robinson Regis, when you come to give facts, you must come good. The PNM has only one SC, and that is Shameless Camille. They have one PM. We had a dignified Prime Minister, someone who was befitting of the office. They have one PM, not Prime Minister, you know. The PNM has one PM, the pavement man. You see, my friends, this front page tells us we have money in this country under Prime Minister Keith Rowley to pay out $150,000 in sex suit, but we have no money for little baby Halima to go for life-saving surgery. We have $150,000 in sex suit under Prime Minister Keith Rowley, but we have no money for little baby Miracle, who died under the Keith Rowley administration. You see, we have $150,000 in sex suit, but we have no money for the schools that remained open in Siparia, Princestown, Naparima, through the length and breadth of this country. You see, we have money for sex suit under Prime Minister Keith Rowley, but a shameless Camille Robinson Regis and St. Joseph Denial Singh will tell you that we have medicine in the nation's hospital, when you and I both know that is the furthest thing from the truth. We have money for sex suit, but at whose expense? Our children's expense. My friends, we are in the constituency of La Horquita Talparo. Jerlene John has led a team that has brought life to the constituency back in La Horquita Talparo. Maxi Coffee, for the past 8 months, remains as a member of parliament here, receiving a salary totaling for 8 months $400,000. That is unethical. It is unlawful. My friends, we have told you time and time again, this is a big people party. We cannot get medication in the hospitals, but $2.3 million has been spent on Maxi Coffee for treatment abroad. While we sympathize with the MP and we understand his condition, it is not fair to you, the people who live in this country, who have to sleep on the floors in the hospital, who have to be dependent on a little handout from Mount Hope and San Fernando General. You know, I will tell you this as I close. They say karma is a hell of a thing. I am almost certain that Darrell Smith never imagined that it would be the member for Princestown who will preside over his political death. I want you to understand that we have a great leader. We are going forward. We do not have to talk degradingly about women. We do not have to settle sex suits. I hear the Prime Minister saying that his government has not been bereft of scandal. Hello? $150,000 in sex suit. $90,000 in romping charges. No accreditation at the stadium. $55,000 with shameless chamfer. Wig fertility treatment under Camille Robinson Regis. That is the DNA and the history of the PNM. But that is the DNA and the history of King Rowley. And sooner rather than later, with your support, right here in La Horquita Talparo, and with the leadership of Kamla Pasar-Bisesa, La Horquita Talparo will be in the winning column of the United National Congress, where we take the corridors of power very shortly under the United National Congress and our political leader, Kamla Pasar-Bisesa. I thank you.
When I told you all we coming with firepower here tonight in La Horquita Talparo, all I thought I was joking. Let's give it up once more for MP Barry Padarat. The next speaker waltzed into La Horquita Talparo a couple of weeks ago and injected fresh blood, new blood, and we feel reinvigorated here in La Horquita Talparo. She holds a master's in business administration. She's a chartered accountant. She has been the general manager of PTSC, a board member at TNTech, vice chair at YTEP, CEO at Pizza Boys Group, managing director at the HDC, chairman of the UDCOT. She came into this constituency a couple of weeks ago, and she has hit the ground running. She has been in Las Lomas, Wallerfield, and on Saturday we culminated our walks in Brazil. And it was a phenomenal experience. The people were rushing out to meet her. Our supporters, definitely, they were waiting for someone to come into the constituency. Those in the middle, and even those on the red side, they were running out to meet her. I felt so happy to see the vibes, and we are just midterm right now. I think we are ready for an election here in La Horquita Talparo. I stand here as the chairman of the constituency, and on behalf of my constituency executive and all the activists in La Horquita Talparo, we endorse this lady as our coordinator, and I want you to join your hands and welcome, give her a La Horquita Talparo welcome, Ms. Jolene John.
Thank you, Ryan. Without a good soldier like Ryan at my side, we could not have done it. So I want to thank all the people who turned out here tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. I asked you to come to ensure that our political leader and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is strengthened when she sees you, when she hears your screams and yells. She'll be blessed by your prayers. I want to thank you, Las Lomas. I want to thank you here tonight. I want to thank Brazil. I want to thank La Horquita, all the places that I walked. And I really wanted to call all of the activists who we walked with, but my time has been shortened and it's going very quickly because the political leader has a lot to say, and I don't want to begrudge her of that opportunity. So it was an honor. And yesterday, I was invited also to participate in a nearby, at a nearby ashram, where they had the installation of a new Murti, Mother Durga, because this is also a holy period. I think it ends today for the Hindu community. Yesterday also marked a significant week in this Christian calendar. It was Palm Sunday. And Jesus said then, yet a little while the light is among you. Walk while you have the light, that darkness may not overtake you. And again on a Monday, not unlike today, the Lord cursed the fig tree, which had leaves but no fruit. And this really was very poignant to me because it reminded me so much of Trinidad and Tobago today. In my many walkabouts along the corridor, I have listened to our people. I listened to their hopes and their fears. I've also listened to the voices which claim the honorable political leader and the UNC cannot win an election because the people along the east-west corridor will not vote for her. They'll not vote to the party. Who says so? Is it Lahokita Talparo? Is it you? Lahokita Talparo, you said that? It can't be you. It can't be you. I've met hundreds, if not thousands of people from every walk of life, every race, religion, and political persuasion. People want hope. People want jobs. People want justice. People want a safe society. Those aspirations are not rooted in any race, class, or religion, or political, or even political affiliation, I can tell you. They are universal. Las Lomas, the same things that you want tonight are the same things that family in Laventil want. Isn't that so? The same thing Tobago wants. I mean, they want a guerrilla rally too, I could tell you that. It coincides with the dreams and aspirations of Penal and Princestown, Arima and Sangre Grande. People want when they speak, you listen. You hear, you have compassion. Do you know anyone with those qualities? I do. I know Kamla Prasad Besessa is that person who fought for every child to have access to free secondary education. That is profound. It is revolutionary. Education can light up the darkness of hopelessness. When the youth ask them for hope, what do they give them? They give them the anti-crime bill. That's what they give them. You understand? A hand with nothing in it. Every child, it is every child. She speaks to your heart. Madam Political Leader, the corridor is listening. The corridor is watching. And the corridor is waiting for you. They have given me an invitation for you. They say the corridor is ready. Dr. Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can drive out darkness. I have lived on the corridor, and I know the corridor is ready for Kamla Prasad Besessa. In this constituency, I have to get along. There's a housing development called the Greenvale Housing Development located off Tumpurna Road at Lahokita. It consists of 625 housing units because I want to just touch on something that has been in the news. Greenvale was amongst 52 other projects which we met, which were ongoing projects, because this current government behaves as if politics or governance is a zero-sum game. It's a relay. There will always be ongoing projects, always, because they want you to come in and fold your hand and wait for them, because the PNM has been stored upon themselves the right to govern Trinidad and Tobago forever. It just can't happen. So it's a relay. So when the People's Partnership came in, there were at the HCC, amongst other places, 52 ongoing projects. I would have rather for 52, but my time is running very quickly. And you see, this would have proven several things. You would have known all of the contractors. I would have told you all of their names, so that no more can the PNM open their mouth and say, it's UNC contractors. I met those contractors there, and I left those contractors there. They are still there. And now I have to kind of race on. Now in 2011, all of the projects from 2002 to 2008 commenced without planning or prior building approval. No budgets for completion. No town and country planning or outline planning permission. No EMA certificate of environmental clearance. No fire services. No water and sewage. No drainage division approval. No T&Tech and electoral inspectorate division clearances. All of them, all over the place. As a result, during the People's Partnership term of office, 2010 to 2015, 33 sites were successfully vested within the HDC, which caused the HDC to be able to realize $7.4 billion. So they had money locked down there, and because of their laziness, they did nothing about it. In fact, many of the projects were constructed, and they will have a key handing out ceremony, and where 50 people will be allocated. Now, these, as I said, they were incomplete. They had no infrastructure, no wastewater facilities. We built 20 wastewater treatment plants. We built 19, I think, just now. I'm getting all my statistics mixed up now. Lift station, sorry. So all of these units were standing empty there, and we were being asked by the country, why are these empty? And of course, the PNM again decided to lie. It is vindictiveness. It was not vindictiveness. You could not have allocated those units because there was no electrical infrastructure, no wastewater, no potable water. As a matter of fact, for the few standing there, when you went to your toilet and flush it, it was flowing in your yard. It was flowing in the drains. It was happening in Retrench. It was happening in Las Alturas. It was happening in several communities across Trinidad and Tobago. That is why we had to build over 20 wastewater plants while the houses were sitting there. Now, Dr. Munilal, the then Minister of Housing, had mandated that HTC hand out 100 keys a week. So we handed out, in the 240 weeks or so, 6,400 keys. As a matter of fact, it is 6,438. So from 2010 to 2015, the HTC executed 7,534 new housing starts, delivered 8,521 housing units. All right. So when they have not built a house, that's what I'm saying. Randall Mitchell has not built one single house, but before I get to him, quoting from an Express newspaper on the 31st of October 2015, at Piggott's Corner, at this famous meeting they have after the budget meeting, Marlene MacDonald, the then Minister of Housing, said, the last government had begun 100 houses a week distribution program, but the new PNM administration has stopped this program. That distribution of 100 houses a week, take it from me tonight, and of course, you know she huffing and puffing, was pure foolishness. So that explains why at today's date, after 124 weeks in office, the PNM has handed out about 100 keys. We were given 100 a week. So I asked, what is Mr. Mitchell's, that's Randall, what is his record of performance? Our newly inaugurated president has some words of advice. You can be a light in your workplace, get to work on time, actually do some work. I think that is a universal and good advice. And to answer what my colleague, MP Padarat, he was just concerned and wondering, what are these people doing? I believe, you know, Richard Branson, the owner of Virgin Airlines, there's the, when you looked at the case study, Virgin was having a lot of problems penetrating the market because British Airways was a giant. So Richard will come up with a lot of these quirky advertisements. And he had one that said, come fly with an English Virgin. I feel somewhere there's a classified that says, come sleep with a government minister. It must be. This thing can't be happening. You understand? This can't be, you can't make this thing up. You understand? So most recently, on the 17th of March, they had View Fort in St. James. And of course, because they don't give out nothing, they catch a glad. And everybody go on and they're lying and they're having a good time with their foolishness. And they're saying the People's Partnership left incomplete projects and so on. But I want to remind Dr. Rowley that on the 21st of September 2015, he handed out keys at a project called Chaconia Crescent in Diego Martin, 96 units. That was one of the 3 incomplete projects in the Northwest. He handed out those keys, 96 units. We completed it. I want to remind him also. I have to go quick. You know, because when you're running him out, every now and again he talks the truth. When he saw Victoria Keys, he said it was the best project he has ever seen in Trinidad and Tobago. The People's Partnership finished that, and he busy handing out all the keys. That was the second one. Viewport had some
real problems. They had poor quality of work in existing structure, encroachment by local residents, incomplete design. And then there was an injunction on the 12th of December 2008 where the neighbor, Audrey Kwamina, by order of the High Court, restrained the HTC from completing the building. So we had to wait. And we scoped the job and everything. And by December of 2014, based on tender, something they had never done in any of those projects, I want them, I'm very sorry I have to rush my speech because I wanted to read out their names. I could tell you the first time that project had a tender was then. And there they were handing out a few measly keys until I think Prime Minister Rowley caught a trance. You know, if you fought is cast a shadow over St. James Cemetery. So there they were, you know, just having got their degrade. So it's showing shade. The country, remember, because vividly a man who was calling Mr. Manning's name, bragged that he had been to Lekito for him, insinuating that perhaps it was as a result of the famous Lekito Jumbi, Mr. Manning had met an untimely demise. I wonder why should this man, with no achievement, want to, as Prime Minister, stand in the shade of Saka Jumbi again, want to show such shame on a dead man? You see, I am standing in a UNC crowd, and you all may have never voted for him. You might not even have liked his policies. But I think in the majority, we would agree he was a statesman. I could tell you he was hardworking, and it took courage for him to tell us what to expect from our current Prime Minister. Right? He had a plan, and Kamla Prasad Biswas also had a plan. Rowley's plan was to take Manning to Lekito. The plan is to smear and try to lick up Jolene. His plan is to take away laptops from children, which in 2018 is an essential tool for them to dream and to have curiosity, and so on. Rowley's plan is to cut medical supply. This whilst a young mother, Romani Singh, whom I met last week in this village with a paraplegic child cradled in her arms and tears streaming down her face, and she couldn't afford much needed medicine for her young child as the drugs were not available. Rowley's plan is to cut gate so that the future of Trinidad and Tobago no longer resides in the school bag of the children. His plan is to ensure we cannot produce more Charisma Bal Singh, who lives right here in Las Lomas. That is all your girl. You understand? She's a medical doctor, and she's an unemployed medical doctor, a scholarship winner. And you know why she can't get to work? Because Rowley's plan is not to open the Cuba Children's Hospital. So I want to ask you all, but I can't ask you all too many things. Now, so I say to you, be not afraid, because the PNM government is not only incompetent, they are cruel and believe that an open show of force and viciousness will have people cowering in fear. Which reminds me, and DJ, don't start up anything here because I need to talk about this. Which reminds me of the public meeting the PNM held on the 22nd of March. I heard Kit Rowley asking Jolene come back. You know, he and his minion Stuart Young are not responding, so they persist. Now, mind you, this meeting was in a catchment area with him, his Minister of Finance, and his Minister of Sport, because we know this only sport this Minister of Sport doing is his fastest hand in the West. Yeah. You understand? I grew up, I'm a child of the 60s, and I grew up with JT Edson and thing, and you know, Dusty and them fellas. The fastest hand in the West, that is all he good for. You understand? So he asked if I come back. Speaking to 120 people, my people, let me hear you all talk. Shout for Kamla Rowley here in Las Lomas. What's going on here? We ready? We ready? Three major ministers upstairs in a community center, hiding, you understand, with 120 people. All they needed was a candle for the wake that they were having. You understand? The Prime Minister is studying that nobody wanted to hear. He obsessing over Jolene John. I want to tell Rowley tonight, I am not Michelle Obama. I don't subscribe to Michelle Obama. I am not one when you go low, we go high. When Rowley go low, I going below. Below the white line in the road. He's too nasty. He's a nasty, vicious man. You know, what is wrong with Kid Rowley? What you mean I come back? Where Rowley send me? Rowley had to tell me tonight. He went to Lekito for me. I too from Tobago. I know where to find Lekito. What is wrong with this man? He going up for back. What Jerry John come back? I didn't go anywhere. You understand? He destroying. And in the people of Tobago, when they send, you know, we say all of us one family. Not because we are connected by blood, but because we believe in Tobago and we love Tobago. You believe when Tobago people send the we boy down here, they pull the cabinet, they send Tobago East. Who say Tobago is suffering? Tobago West say, well, let it drink almond milk and eat yogurt. You understand? You know. And then the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I don't understand what he's about because he never speaks, he never say anything. But you see, they're treating Tobago like a foreign land. So that is why they have this man as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So, you see, the superfast Galicia was procured by the UNC government. Hatred and vindictiveness of the Rowley PNM took it away. You understand? They lie, they conflate, and they terminated the contract just because they destroy people's lives. And then they come and they tell you, boldface, you're not suffering, so you're feeling pain. Let me know an alternate universe, you know, because them business fix, but you ain't suffering in Tobago. Bannis James, foremost economist, he from Charville too. You know, that is an ex-Awi boy. He said 34 businesses done closed down. Do you know 34 businesses in Tobago? That's the whole of Tobago. Tobago had 34 people. That is why they only have Minister East and West. They don't even have North and South. So this week, I just want to tell you all, Kamla Prasad Bisesa has a seat at the table for everybody, for this entire corridor. All right? And I want to tell you tonight, in this week, this Holy Week, I know the PNM is very concerned because just like the scripture, I tell them tonight, it is finished. I thank you.
Come on, wave your flags a little more, somebody! Our next introduction, important introduction, will be done by Miss Angela Didier, and she is the resident of Brazil Village. She's a proud UNC supporter, and she is the Digital Rising Star Champion for the year 2015. Let's welcome Miss Angela Didier.
Thank you so much. My friends, tonight, I have the distinct honor and privilege to introduce to the podium a leader with a vision and a plan for a better Trinidad and Tobago. A woman who was the Prime Minister of this beloved country in only 5 years gave us the Children Life Fund, a Cuba Children's Hospital, the San Fernando Teaching Hospital. Under her leadership, GATE was expanded so that more people could have an opportunity to create a better future for themselves and their family. Her government set about creating 56,000 sustainable jobs so that parents would not have to face their children and they could no longer provide for. Her vision was to invest in our people to create a better Trinidad and Tobago for all of us. And I can go on, you know, on and on about her accomplishments as Prime Minister and what she has done for us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but time will not permit me. Tonight I introduce a woman who understands local government because she started a political career as an alderman. A woman who became the MP in 1995, and the people of Superior still believe in her up to today. A woman who was the first female attorney general. A woman who, as a minister of education, said that all children deserve a place in our secondary school. No one must be left behind or left out. A woman who was the first female opposition leader and who became the first female prime minister of our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, a woman who is fierce, strong, powerful, dynamic, and has said she will always fight for us and have never backed down on that promise. A woman who is an iron lady, but a mother also, a grandmother, who is a caring, gentle, loving, and compassionate human being. A woman who has stood the test of time, weathering the storms of the public life, but determined to play her role in making our country better. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a La Hokita Talparo welcome to this strong, dynamic, beloved leader of the opposition and political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Las Lomas. How are you feeling? Can I tell you how I feel? I feel like Hulk. Tonight, when I heard JJ, I say, yes, JJ, go girl, trample them, trample them, trample them, kick them out. We have such a strong platform here tonight, and those who are sitting amongst us in the audience. I know we have recognized some of the MPs, former MPs, and others have come in whilst the meeting was going on. So allow me to acknowledge, first of all, as I say good night, good evening to all of you, to members here on the platform, members of the executives, to welcome with us our one and only great sportsman, Brent Sancho, our former Minister of Sports. And Brent has been speaking to me about a project, we'll talk more about it, but a project to involve youth and sports. Sports and youth, the two go hand in hand. And we will be rolling out that project. I would say Brent will be rolling out that project for all of us in Trinidad, in Tobago, in the weeks not too long ago. Brent, thank you and welcome him. And I heard Minister Robinson Regis, Indigo Martin, I think it was Wednesday night, Thursday night? Thursday night, talking about Minister of Sports and Minister of Sports. So Minister Camille Robinson Regis. Barry has spoken a bit about your present minister. But let me tell you, all the projects you boasted about, that your government opened, aquatic center, velodrome and so on, was a fella named Anil Roberts. Welcome him here. Thank you. And the former minister who is really knocking up the place, who is really trampling them each day, each week, the whole Sea Bridge fiasco, the collapse, the issues with the nurseries and so many others, the latest being our Minister of National Security, the whole Dillon issue, and we'll talk more on it. I want to thank former Minister Devan Maraj and welcome him here tonight. Our minister who did so much work in tertiary education, you know it. You know my heart, my greatest vision, my goal, my aim lies in the education sector. I have given my life's work in the education sector. And I was very, very well assisted by Minister Fazal Karim and, of course, Tim Gopi Singh in the last few years. Let us also welcome, I know we've welcomed several others who are here, so I'm looking at the ones who just arrived. So other MPs, please, I'm not leaving it out just in the interest of time. So I also want to welcome Minister of Housing, former Dr. Munilal, and Jerlyn would have spoken about some of the projects that we did before. But tonight we have a special guest. Also, I know a person who has education and young people very close to his heart. I take great pleasure in asking you to join me in welcoming none other than Professor Dr. Selwyn Kujo, who has joined us here tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. And of course, the first chairman of our party always, Dr. Pandit Rampasad Parasram, we welcome him. So all of you, welcome very much. I'm seeing the various stories and the commentaries that are coming over newspapers and media and so on. And last time when I spoke, I talked about, listen, if you want to work and build this country, if you want to work for our children and their future, I said, come, join us. Let us work together in the United National Congress. Well, who tell me to say that? Because I said, look, all these rejects, all these recycled people and so on. No. If you want to form third party, that is your democratic right. Go and form third party. But don't come to the UNC and beg for seats. I said, look, if you want to work with us, you share our values. You share what we stand for. Come in. Our house, our doors are wide open. Join us in the UNC. And that is what I repeat tonight. You see my platform, you see your platform, you see our platform, you see the platform of the future of Trinidad and Tobago here tonight. And so I've always said we will take the experience of the not so young ones, but we must marry that with the brilliance, with the progressiveness of the young ones. And you will see our platform. Tonight I'm so proud of our son, Senator Tahaka Obika, proud, young, bright man, has joined our ranks. His father worked with us before. Tonight, I am so proud to see young Councillor Ryan Rampasad, who has been working. I'm so proud of Councillor Balmati Gosang, of Councillor Lizama. All of these and more you would have seen. I started this movement since our last local government election, where I brought in so many young councillors to join with the more experienced ones. We have to bring the young people in, because if we do not do that, we will be fossilized. We will be the dinosaurs of the past age. And that is my job as I see it. We must mentor, we must build, and must create the new leadership, the new generation of Trinidad and Tobago and of the UNC. So those of us who are here, we will have to pass that baton on to the younger ones. And so I open my arms. I open the doors of our great party, the UNC, and ask the young people, come forward, join us. Let us form a movement. Let us take Trinidad and Tobago forward together. That is what I ask. And tonight, you would have seen on our Senate bench, we have young Senator Anita Haynes. We have Senator Gerald Ramdeen. We have the experienced Senator Wade Mark, Khadija. We've brought in the young ones to work with me, more experienced ones. I cannot do the same for the moment on the bench of the House, because we have our elected MPs. But I know that they understand, and we understand, that in order to win, we have to open those benches. We have to open up those seats so we can bring in new ones. And that is why I have named, and the party has named, coordinators in seats that we must win to form the election. In this constituency where there is no MP, and tonight I want to say all my prayers and God's blessings go to the MP in this constituency, Maxi Coffey, for his recovery. Our prayers are with him. I wish him very well. But it's over a year, or maybe 7, 8 months, there has been no member of parliament here. And whilst Camille came and told you a few weeks ago that they're doing work and how much work being done, Councillor Ryan showed the lie to what she was saying, that what she said was happening was not happening. Tonight I say that we will represent you. Jill and John will coordinate this constituency. Together with Jill and John will be the councillors, Councillor Ezama, Councillor Balmati and Councillor Ryan. Together they will form a nucleus, a team to work with you, to bring your issues and your concerns to the forefront. And we will raise them for you in the parliament and outside of the parliament. So do not be afraid. Do not lose hope. Never fear, because the UNC is here. Never fear. And to young Tahaka, Senator, I heard you grading people about F's and D's and so on. And you said, well, after D's and F. But you know, we went to school, you remember the Sparrow song, you know, children go to school and learn. And what we learn, A, B, C, D. After D is E, Tahaka. And you know what that E is for? Election. Call election now. Call election now. That's what it is for. So my UNC family, as I join you here, those listening on the airwaves, I know we are worried about our nation. And I'm here tonight together with our team for us to talk with you. The team has been on the ground. They will continue the field work. Know that. They will continue that work on the ground, because you see, this campaign, whenever that election may be called, is not an air campaign. It's not going on TV, holding a meeting wherever with 112 people, I'm told. Hey, listen, there are more people outside here tonight than there are inside. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. And so holding this meeting, Boxo, holding their meeting up in Diego Martin there. And you know what? I was watching this thing. And then I couldn't hear anything. The sound went. Then, I think electricity went. You know what happened? The UNC is so powerful. You had people texting up on the Facebook saying, hey, UNC sabotaging the meeting. We are so powerful. We are so powerful. They're finding rocks everywhere. Well, you know who is the man, who is the brilliant man with rocks? The geologist himself. I asked them all these rocks they're finding, sabotage everywhere, to send it to the chief geologist, Keith Rowley, so he could examine where these rocks came from. Let him tell us where these rocks are coming from. Everywhere, rocks turning up. So I think, as a geologist, he can certainly help us. So, in Diego Martin, and they have their meeting, the lights gone, the sound gone. Anyway, I'm listening, okay? And you know what was really, really disturbing in that meeting was what we have been saying even before the 2015 election. They have absolutely no plan for the people, for the economy, for jobs, for education, nothing. They have no plans, and it is just the usual blame, blame, and blame. Blame Kamala, blame the UNC, they blame the police, they buff up the businessmen, and then you have this horrible fiasco of the MPs for Tobago and the things they are saying about Tobago, which shall come back. So I know we are worried. But I tell you, do not lose hope. And before I go into some of our plans to share with you tonight, I want to put you on warning. Do not get distracted. Do not get caught up in their fake news. Because you see, it is clear that they're putting out these stories about something called SCL and something called Cambridge Analytica. And it is clear that this series of articles is just another distraction to take us away from the 16 million Keith Rowley spent on lobbyists in the US. You know, we have got nothing from that yet. Art Collins was his name, the group, 16 million, no tendering, no process, hired immediately before and after the elections. 16 million, nothing to show. This story on SCL and Cambridge Analytica, again a distraction from the 100 million fake oil. Remember the Prime Minister's best friend? Well, these people look like they're some good best friends, you know. Prime Minister admitted the whole country, the fake oil man, was his bestie. Remember? Now I see a minister saying that his friend gave him some apartment or something worth, I don't know how much. So tonight I'm listening on the news. You know what I said, Professor? I said, boy, I wish I had a friend like that. I wish I had a friend who just give me a gift. I'm sure every one of you will wish to have a friend like that. But we will come back to it. And so these distractions, that untenable position of not just any minister, a minister of national security. There's a distraction from the AG's breach of everything that an AG should do or should not do. When he comes and he accuses a US citizen of land grabbing, how he knows that? How he knows Dillon is not the land grabber? Why is he saying that the niece of Mr. Piper is a land grabber? This is not a private, public matter, sorry, not a government. What he put in his mouth in that for? As the Attorney General of this country, man, what you have to say about a private lawsuit that is going on in the US implicating none other than our Minister of National Security. So AG again, hoof and mouth disease as they call it, foot and mouth disease. A distraction from the total collapse of the sea bridge. And you know, we have said, umpteen times we have said, that the partnership government, the UNC party, we have had no dealings, no engagement, no contracts with this SCL and Cambridge Analytica. I want to make that very clear. But Stuart Young and his puppets are peddling the misinformation every day in the newspapers. Don't get distracted. I tell you here tonight, we have never engaged the services of this company. Never. Never. Before 2010, post 2010, before 2015, post 2015, they have never been engaged. By now, they should have all the evidence. I call upon Stuart Young and his puppets in the media. I call upon them to provide evidence. Evidence, not all talk. Provide evidence of what they are saying, and they can't do it. Because I tell you tonight, there is none. We never engaged them. And so, yes, Maury was recruited. Guess by who? Mr. Manning. Under the PNM, the Maury group was contracted. When we came into office, they had work to continue, and we continued and engaged Maury. But in the newspaper stories, they tied up Maury with SCL and Cambridge Analytica. So you don't know what you're reading. They confuse you. They distort it. I want to make it very clear, yes. And you know, when we came into office in 2010, we had bills, multi-million-dollar debts to pay for Maury. We had to renegotiate it. That was left over from Mr. Manning's time. And so, that's fine. I don't deny it. The cabinet notes are there. You can get all the papers. When they're saying the government, the National Security Council, the partnership, engage these people, why can't they provide a cabinet note to show that? Why can't they not provide any evidence? But you could get the cabinet to show where Mr. Manning engaged Maury, and then we continued with that work. So tonight I want to tell you, I call upon Stuart Young and his puppets. I call upon them to produce any evidence that the partnership government, the UNC party, myself, any of us, paid SCL and Cambridge Analytica for any work. I challenge them here tonight to do that. So distractions, never let yourself be distracted with the fake news that they put forward. I want to read you a quote. This was something that was said in 2015 by the then leader of the opposition, Mr. Rowley. He says, in any serious country with this kind of development, where the government has collapsed in this way, anybody wanting this country's interests to be of paramount importance will call the general election. That is Mr. Rowley. He said that February 3rd, 2015. And we have not seen, you've heard tonight, the stories the narrative by the members here and elsewhere. And you know it. You know it in your heart. You know it every day when you have to get up, send your child to school, worry if that child will get home safe. Your husband goes to work, you don't know if he's going to come back. You go to work. You don't know if you're going to come back home safe. You know it every single waking moment. And even in your sleeping moments, it is a nightmare. Because of where our country is reached, the state of collapse, the jobs, the cutting of the jobs, the escalating crime, out of control. And this man will tell women in this country, I am not in your bedroom. Rory, thank God you're not in my bedroom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Over 52 women slaughtered in this country. And the Prime Minister goes, Diego Martin, the other night, and he said, oh Lord, how much more will we have to endure? Throws his hands up. He doesn't realize that he is in charge. His government is in charge. Oh Lord, how much more we'll have to endure. Well, Mr. Rowley, we only endure until you call the election. After the election, there will be no more of that. No more. No more. And so as we talk with you, as we share with you, we have won an election before and we will win again with your help. We will do it. We will do it. And what is my hope? What it is I work for, listen. I may look a little young, but I'm not. I have lived a life, I've worked very hard. There's very little more I want for myself. In fact, there is absolutely maybe nothing that I really want for myself. But you know what I want? You know what I hope for? In these my twilight years? You know what Professor Kodjo wants? You know what Pandit Parasram wants? You know what we all want? What matters most to us is our children. That is what matters most to us, our children. And so, what we dare to hope for is a morning, when we can wake up knowing we had a restful night, free from worries, free from crime, knowing that no crime has affected our home or that in our community. We want to wake up when we do not see the screaming red blood headlines announcing the deaths of mothers and children, sons, daughters, fathers in our land. We want to wake up to a day when the food that we get up to prepare, that day will be a healthy day, will be a wholesome day. It will be a day when we not be faced with panic about illness, about one of our members, our loved ones falling ill, and we are panicking because we know that it cannot cater for them in the hospitals, in the health centers. We want a day, I say, when we can know that for children, for the elderly, for the most vulnerable, that should they fall ill, they can get the best health care right here in Trinidad and Tobago. On that day, we can be sure that everyone in a home gets up and is prepared to do what? Go to work. You know why? That they will have a job to go to. That is the day we work for. That is the day we pray for. And we want to know that the jobs are available. We want to make sure that our children will get back their free laptops so they can live in this digital age. That is what we live. That is what we work for. That is what we pray for. That is why, you know, this, I keep talking about the fourth industrial revolution, the digital age. You know, some countries, you know what they've done? And we may want to consider it, to have a ministry, actually a ministry created of artificial intelligence and ICTs. That's the world. That's the future. That is why we gave the laptops to our children. We were training them for this new industrial revolution. That is why we created e-textbooks. They're complaining about the book bag too heavy on the backs, huh? So why you abandon the laptops? Why have you abandoned the e-textbooks that would have gone into that laptop so you don't have to carry around this big heavy book bag? Why? And you know, with e-textbooks, you know how easy it is to make the copies because we will have the copyright. So you even cut down the cost. You'll have more money to do other things. And so I say, it is important for us to see a day when we know our children will have a place to go at the university. They're cutting the gate, they're closing the gate. And what are they spending money on? Barry talked about some. I can talk about many more. Their priorities are totally skewed. Their priorities do not include anything that concerns people and poor people. Their priorities are about soca on the seas, about paintings, about golf courses, house in Tobago. I could rattle them off. But not about the children. Not about the future of our young people. I want to work with you so that when our children finish high school, as we were doing before, Fazal will tell you, we brought our tertiary level participation rate to over 65%. 65%. And we, you know, Professor, we beat our own target. We had target 62, 60%, we went to 65, but you know that is, gate is closing. You know that is happening, that people can't go for these courses and so on anymore. Thank you so much, Angela. So, I'm saying this is what we work and must work and continue to live for. These are the things we must do. So we have the university down in south. We have the one in north, in the corridor. What is so wrong? What is so wrong that you will not open the university in south? So that will free up more spaces up here for you all who are up here. And the people from Point 14, from Mayaro, from La Brea, Palo Seco, Siparia, Pinal Bar, all these places, they could go where? Right close to home in south. You know what money will be saved? You know what money parents will save? The best thing you can do is to give your child a good education. That is the best thing you can do today. If we want to work for them, that is what we can do for them. But this PNM government, and it's not just PNM, it is the Rowley government. They have lost touch with the people. They don't hear anymore, they don't see. And you have a minister around and around, I used to call him the all-purpose minister. The young one. The all-purpose minister who has to speak on everything under the sun. Is he the deputy prime minister? I don't know. He's in 3 ministries, by the way. I wonder if he gets 3 salaries. We must ask that question as well. Stuart Young, all-purpose minister. And then Rowley goes on the platform. Oh, well, we bring down the number of ministries. We promise we'll bring down the number of ministers. You know, they could distort and lie on everything. So yes, you bring down the number of full ministers. But guess what? You have junior minister, minister of state, parliamentary secretary, 1 minister in 3 ministries, and not a single ministry is performing. Not one is delivering. Not one is performing. So take your ministers, take your government and go, go, go. Go now. Go now. So the question is then, how do we get to that day that I'm visualizing for you? How do we get to that day from where we are? All 1.4 plus million of us. How do we get from where we are to where we want to be, that bright future? First of all, I will say we start by deciding that beyond our doubts and differences, first of all, we must believe that such a day will come. Such a day exists. We must believe. First, everything is possible once you believe. And this is something that each of us can do every single day. We can make that day possible. When we stop thinking about the changes required, that those are impossible and beyond us, to see that they are within our grasp, that we can do it and we will do it. We must stop giving into the fears that we do not deserve a better future. I have said to you before, the UNC has always been battered in itself. We can't stand up for ourselves. We always feel we have to get a prop. I said it before and I repeat it. We have to get a prop and a crutch from outside of the UNC to lift us up. Today I said the UNC will lift itself up. We you and me, we must stop denigrating ourselves. We must stop thinking that we are children of a lesser God, because above every one of us there's but one God. One God. See not race in every face, but see the grace of God in every face. We are all children of God. We sing in our anthem every day. Every creed, every race find an equal place. So let not race divide us. Let not class divide us. Let nothing divide us except our vision, our goal, our aim to take Trinidad and Tobago forward into the future. Let us unite. Let us unite with that vision. And when we have the same vision together, united, we make that our life work's mission to achieve it. That is what we must do now. I'm not busting nobody's throat, eh? I'm not busting nobody's throat, but you know what? It's licks like peas come election day. That is the only thing I will do. So we must stop pointing at each other. We must chart this new course. We must have a course of action that leaves no one behind. Jillian told you earlier, we have a seat at the table for every single person. There's a seat at the table for everyone. Everyone. All children of God. And so we must have a mission, as I said. A vision, and then the mission that empowers us to do our best, to be our best. And so, as a nation, when we look at the headlines, we look at the news, I know sometimes we feel hopeless. What we do not realize, you see today and now, we have never had a better opportunity to come together to overcome the crisis that we are in. Within all of us, Trinbagonian, that spirit we have for innovation, for excellence, cooperation, we must come together to make this our home. We have no other home, you know. I have told you many times, there is no Mother India. There is no Mother Africa, no Mother China, no Mother Europe, Asia, wherever. There is only Mother Trinidad and Tobago. There may be Grandmother India. Anil, you on both sides. Grandmother India, Grandmother Africa, Grandmother China, Asia, Europe. But guess what? One Mother Trinidad and Tobago. That's our home. This is our home. This is ours. And so this is our home, Trinidad and Tobago. It is you, as I said, it is me, and it is all of us. Stop sitting and waiting for God, or waiting for something to drop out of the sky. Because it's not going to happen. Get your boots on. Get your feet into those boots. And let us march together to work and create a better Trinidad and Tobago. My friends, this Prime Minister, you know, Jillian spoke about Mr. Manning. I worked with Mr. Manning. He was Prime Minister, he was opposition leader all those years in the Parliament. I'll tell you one thing about that man. He was a gentleman. You may like him, you don't like his policies on his programs, but you know, at least he has some policies and programs, by the way. This fella, Keith Rowley, have no plan, no policy, and no program. Yeah. And when he speaks, you know, he shows very clearly, this is Rowley. He is not the man for the job. He is not a person for the job. Not at all, not at all. An embarrassment. An embarrassment to Trinidad and Tobago. And you know, tonight there was a joint select committee today in the Parliament. You know, I'm being told that somebody there, the general manager of cargo, they have hired this man at a salary of $70,000 a month. Wow. Came out in a joint select committee. By the way, we take full credit for the joint select committees of the Parliament. We have changed the standing orders. When we were there, we changed the standing orders to bring all these people to answer. And so they sent the man's qualifications, the process by which he was hired. You know, everything they touch doesn't turn into gold, it turns into something else. Something that is rotten in the state of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, the Prime Minister boasts about the appointments he's made. I can recite, I have the list here, how many people have resigned or been fired since they've been here in 2.5 years. The Mayor of Port of Spain, Raymond Tinkey, Helen Drayton, Chairman of CNMG, Marlene MacDonald fired not once but twice. You know, I want to ask something. How it is, when there were allegations about Marlene, you fired her once, you fired her twice. How come when you have allegations against this man named Dillon, you're still keeping him there? Why? Does he have some kind of goods on you? Why you fired Marlene twice when she was under allegations? But Mr. Dillon, not a word, not a sound, nothing. How come? Is the all in secrecy you have to ask? How come when there were allegations against Franklin, and this is the PNM now, I could talk about it on my time. You know anybody like that, they're gone already when I was Prime Minister. You had Franklin Khan under serious allegations. What happened? Gone. Yeah, he had to leave the ministry. You had against another Eric Williams, not Dr. Eric Williams. Eric Williams, the Minister of Energy at the time. He had to go too when those allegations were there. I'm told there was another one, Roberts, I think Anthony Roberts. He also, I think, he was. So there is the precedent that when your ministers, the administrators in your cabinet, when there's serious allegations, they should leave. And if they don't leave, you should fire them, Keith Rowley. Fire them. Fire them. So I have all of these, about 5 pages of all those who fired and resigned and so on. I'll leave that for tonight. And then Mr. Rowley goes again in Diego Martin, and he talks about scandals. Here, in 2.5 years, I want to ask you here tonight, what were the major scandals of this government in his? He says, 2010 to 15, every Monday morning was a scandal and a bacchanal. You hear a lie? Another lie. Another lie. Another lie, because you see, that fella, like he don't hear. That fella like he don't see. So what about the paintings for 3 million? Which scandal was that? So-called the C's, the Benz for 2 million. The CL Financial Sexual Harassment, 3.5 million. The Ministry of Sports Sexual Harassment, 150 million. Whose bacchanal is that? Whose scandal is that? What about the phone call, the Trump call, 16 million? Barry spoke about the Taruba Stadium and so on. What happened there? Not accredited up to this day. What about the toilet paper factory loan of 30 million? What about the trade unions' hush money? What about Shamfa's roaming bill? 59,000. Darrell's Tobago weekend and more to come on, Mr. Darrell. What about Massey Communications buyout, 225 million? What about the Ernst & Young audits, 20 million? Price Waterhouse, audits another 10 million. House in Tobago, how many millions? Golf Course North, 3 million. Golf Course South, more money. What about the Fed March openings? What about the fake oil with your best friend? How come that hasn't reached the police for investigation? What happened, your bestie? What happened? And I heard you were down in my area today. And I heard you were very welcome. We are good people down there, you know that. We don't run away people and we don't get them bad. But I'll tell you, Mr. Rowley, Dr. Rowley, you could come down in the Superior constituency once. You could come twice. You could come umpteen times. You will never win the constituency of Superior. And tonight I predict tonight, after seeing this massive crowd here, after seeing the work done by JJ, Ryan, and Balmati, and the team here in Las Lomas, in La Joqueta, Talparo, I predict confidently, and I ask you to raise your hand with me if you agree, we will win La Joqueta, Talparo, whenever it is called. You know, there's a famous saying, you don't need guns, you don't need spares, you don't need anything. All you need is this finger. This finger can put a government in power. And this finger can move a government out of office. Let us use it and use it wisely. So all the scandals, the ocean flower, you know, amazing, eh? The more you live, is more amazing things appear under this Rowley government. You know what? Prime Minister Rowley said in public, the Bridgman's deal was a crooked deal. Well, nobody can get charged yet, by the way. That crook get away. Crooked deal. And the Carbo Star came up for renewal. Who was them? Not Bridgman's. Guess what? They renewed. I'm sorry. They renewed the Carbo Star contract. You say crooked deal, come back crooks. Welcome. Trinidad and Tobago is open to crooks. And then you want to talk about no scandal? You think the people here don't listen? You think people in Trinidad stupid? You think they don't see? And they will tell you they are seeing and they are hearing and they are feeling. When the time comes, we will vote them out. We will vote them out. Diego Martin. Went in Diego Martin. Here, Mr. Rowley. Please run that video for me, please.
Right here in Diego Martin, after 5 years of absolute abandonment, I can tell you, say, woo! Never let the problems get you down. Stay focused and hold your ground. Because what will kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources. I don't know them still can't kill me now. You see, at them 6 me on the high so right up the top and just like up. So as the box speed up, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up. And if it comes to see, I don't see through. And when the hell my brother does get through,
It was just after 3 p.m. on Tuesday when Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar touched down in Diego Martin to see firsthand the damage caused by Monday's heavy flooding. Several homes in Rich Plain, Diego Martin, suffering heavy losses.
I really want to give thanks and praise to God that no life was lost.
The Prime Minister met with residents to hear how they were personally affected by the floods. Many pleased to say it was the first time a sitting Prime Minister had shown such interest. The Prime Minister assured residents that officials from the Works Ministry would be coming to their assistance.
trials and testings does come before blessings, but we have to be patient, yeah. Weeping and mourning in the night, but joy in the morning. But we just have to endure.
Residents of Bagatelle Blue Basin, thank you very much. Nena, you see that man sitting down there, Mr. Ramachat? Oh God, boy. He sat down and he listened.
This center was in fact built in a very short space of time.
I feel like move any mountain, I trample any building like man better than monster, dismantle any structure, boy. Never give us more than we can bear, but he give us the strength and the will and the power and the courage to handle our problems through him. So on the count of 4, I want everybody step on their problems. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like
Short memories. If I were to show you all the projects we did in Diego Martin, we will be here tonight and tomorrow. These are just some of them. But this man, again, the lies, they distort it. So I wanted you to see it. I didn't just want to say it. You see, that day when we were opening the school and Dr. Rowley was there with me, that was down in Point Kumana. We were opening that school. There's St. Peter's. It's Point Kumana. I remember that day very well. I was looking okay. But you know why? It was my birthday. I remember it very well. And you will see me giving him a cake. Because we had these little cupcakes I gave to the children that day down in Point Kumana. So those are some of the projects, many more. Again, don't get distracted with distortions and the lies. And then he went ahead and he talked about achievements for the East-West Corridor. I don't have a video for this, but I can just tell you. He said more important. So first he said nothing in Diego Martin for 5 years. You hear lie? More lies. That is lie. Then he continues, and more importantly, There are two areas of the country that was left as orphan zones. One is the eastern side of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, right now, where are we? Going east. Look, I have about 5 pages of projects, which time I brought them. I brought them to share with you. Ryan talked about some of the projects on right here in La Joqueta, Talparo. We built over 100 schools in this country. Have they built one in 2.5 years? I don't know a school they've built. And they've stopped the schools in other areas. You know, I remarked in Parliament last day, almost every question that is asked is about a school. Something wrong with a school. The education sector is just collapsing around, sorry to say it, Mr. Agassi, but a very incompetent Minister of Education. Ably aided and abetted by the self-proclaimed stepson of the Minister of Education. Lovell called himself the stepson of that. They are presiding over the collapse of the entire education and system, and that is cause for grave concern. So here we are. Coastat campus in Grandi, is that in the east? We built that. The new Arima Hospital we started in the east. Churchill Roosevelt Highway Extension, Arima, east. The new Arima Police Station, the Arima ECCE, the Jacob Hill ECCE, Aruca Pine Haven ECCE, Valencia Bypass Road. Listen up. Well, we have some people from there. They know it's the truth. It is the truth. Valencia Bypass Road, how can you forget that? The new walkover in Oropoon. The new walkover in Maloney. Where is that? In the north? In the south? That is in the east-west corridor, going east. Hello, the first ever spiritual shelter Baptist school. I take credit for that. St. Bob's, right here. Right here. The Nursing Academy in El Dorado, the Tunapuna Promenade, the Tunapuna Upgraded Market, the National Tennis Complex, the Churchill Roosevelt Highway, the interchange at Grand Bazaar, the completion of the Aranguez overpass. Guess what? The National Oncology Center. This one hurts me. Work was ongoing. You know they stopped the thing? They stopped it, the National Oncology Center. Stopped it. The Mango Rose Homework Center up in East Port of Spain, the Blanchishes Police Station, the new Dabadi Bridge, the other bridge up by Trin City, the creation of the lanes, the 4 porters. Look, shall I continue? I have, yes? Okay. The St. Joseph River Bridge being reconstructed, the Valencia Stretch repaved, along with segments of the Eastern Main Road. Widening this Churchill Roosevelt Highway, 3 lanes going east, upgrades to Hollis Main, improve water supply, water projects to bring water, especially in this La Joqueta, you know, I have a whole WASA schedule of the work done here, over $60 million worth of money to put water just in La Joqueta, Talparo. And you know what? We still have a lot more work to do here and elsewhere. Wastewater treatment plants, Matura, Arima, Port of Spain. State of the art. Well, you saw it, the Carnage Health Center. If you see that, where is that? Diego Martin, in the heart of Diego Martin. That thing is a state of the art. It's like a mini hospital. Mini hospital. The new Maloney Police Station. The new bridge. Huh? The Pantent in La Joqueta is nice. Okay. We take credit for that too, thank you. The Valencia Visitor Center, the Arima West Government Primary School, Fibo Primary School, Arima New Government Primary, Morva ECC, Morva Pavilion, Sea Lots Community Center, St. Augustine ECC, look, Santa Rosa, Sandy Grande, Valsin Government ECC, Petit Valley ECC, Takariga. Look, it's everywhere. And every time they speak, they say what? Kamla and the UNC only care about South. They didn't do nothing up there. Don't let them lie to you. This is it. Facts are stubborn things. They don't go away. They don't go away. They don't go away. And right here in La Joqueta, Talparo, I could talk about many things. You from the village know about it. I saw this article in the Sunday Guardian where many residents were talking about what is happening here. And, you know, it's not me saying it. These are people from here. talking about lack of representation and so on. I've already said what we've done to help you with our coordinator and the councillors and the teams here. I have an entire brief of all the work done, and the brief very long, by the way, in La Hoqueta, but you live here, and La Hoqueta Talparo constituency. But I just want to, before I close, I cannot leave without speaking about Tobago. I just cannot leave here. So can you run the video for me, please?
The Chamber of Commerce in Tobago and all their friends are supposed to be encouraging private sector development. So these fake businessmen who are really distributors, bringing goods from Trinidad and killing the entrepreneurial spirit in Tobago, those people don't care about Tobago. Don't let nobody from outside, Tobagonian by boat, come to tell you, oh, things bad in Tobago because we didn't get to bring our goods from Trinidad.
It was disappointing. I can't hide the fact it was disappointing. I suppose I'm one of the ones that arrived by boat.
Newly appointed Tobago Chamber Chairman Claude Benoit said, and I quote, "There is no credibility. People are not even thinking of coming to Tobago because they do not know how they will get back and vice versa."
I don't visit Tobago by boat for a weekend. I live in Tobago. And nobody in Tobago suffering.
Owner of Penny Savers Supermarket, Lloyd Warner, said as a citizen, "What has happened in the last year with the Sea Bridge is an insult for every Tobagonian." Responding to Webster Roy's position that no one in Tobago is suffering, Warner said, "Because we don't protest by burning tires and saying enough is enough, that says we're not suffering."
Seems to me like it's a circus we're running and all we have is a bunch of clowns.
And nobody in Tobago suffering.
You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie? Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
I don't have to say more. You saw it and you heard it for yourself. We looked on in disbelief in the parliament when these Tobago MPs could say nobody suffering. Ayana, very nice lady, I must say, Ayana Webster Roy, the MP from Tobago. She said she don't visit Tobago by boat. I believe her, you know why? Because they don't have no boat to go to Tobago. The sea bridge has collapsed. The sea bridge has collapsed. And all I'll say about that further, this collapse of the sea bridge, the bringing in of whatever they Costa and the other one, the crooked deals and so on. What's happening with the Galleon's Passage, we still await with bated breath if it will reach, when it will reach. Tonight I want to serve notice. The MPs and the parliamentarians and the party, we have met in caucus. And we intend to file a motion of no confidence in Rohan Sinanan for the collapse of the sea bridge. Collapse of the sea bridge. And tonight, when they say nobody's suffering, you've seen the news, you've seen the newspapers, businesses over $750 million in losses. That's just in money, but the loss, the pain and the trauma. Imagine you have a child might need to come to Trinidad or a loved one for medical attention. You can't come. You know, Trinidad must be the only place where you buy a ticket for a boat and you get a free airline ticket. And when you get a free airline ticket and you go to the airport, it's pure chaos. You cannot get on. Anyhow, a second point I want to make about this, the suffering of the people of Tobago. They have admitted that they are at fault for the collapse of the sea bridge. Tonight I call upon the Keith Rowley government, the wee boy from Tobago, to make sure to compensate the people of Tobago for the damage you have done to them in Tobago. I call for compensation. I call for compensation for the losses in Tobago. If you could compensate a lady because somebody sexually assaulted her, well, I ask you to compensate the people of Tobago for the assault on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want you to see one more video because I cannot leave here without speaking about Dylan himself. Can we see the video?
Damning allegations tonight contained in a civil court document in the Supreme Court of the state of New York accusing this country's Minister of National Security of elder financial abuse, exploitation and fraud. Senior multimedia investigative journalist Mark Besant has been working this story for us, and he joins us in studio now. Mark, what's the latest?
Yes, Fain. Over the past week, we received certain information about a court case in New York implicating the Minister of National Security in questionable financial transactions. We reached out to several legal sources and even spoke with the minister himself about the allegations. Take a look. TV6 News obtained a civil court document which alleges that Edmund Dillon attempted to defraud an elderly man known as Neville Piper of his money and the uptown Manhattan condo last year. In separate court documents TV6 News obtained, a restraining order indicated that Piper, an alleged incapacitated person, purportedly transferred 50% of his condominium located at 301 Cathedral Parkway, uptown Manhattan, to Edmund Dillon. The order indicates that the purported signature of Piper on the deed and the transfer documents does not appear to be Piper's signature, and the elderly man denied ever executing such documents and denied any recollection of the transaction. In fact, in a report submitted to the court by attorney Patricia Powis, the court evaluator who visited Piper at New Jewish home where he's undergoing medical treatment, Piper stated he did not have any recollection of having given an interest in his apartment to Mr. Dillon. He seemed surprised that one would think he would do such a thing. He noted that having worked so hard for my home, why would I give some of it away while I am still here? He also noted that when you are low, people come out of the cracks and jump right on it to get some of yours. He had a copy of the deed in his possession and showed me the page with his signature, which was dog-eared, and he had written, "Who is this?" He stated he wrote that because he did not recognize the signature on the deed, stating it was not his signature. Powis also indicated that they had caused to subpoena bank records of Piper from various banks he had accounts in. What the document showed in one instance was the closure of Oppenmeyer investment account and some $459,500 withdrawn on November 10th, 2017.
As US, huh?
The
US
report
dollars.
also pointed out unexplained withdrawals from Mr. Piper's Citibank account, and also on November 11th, a check written to Edmund Dillon in the sum of $5,000 US. In a December ruling, the civil court indicated a review of this power of attorney dated August 21st, 2017 indicates that Neville Piper did not give Edmund Dillon the authority to give gifts. He also did not give Edmund Dillon the authority to do banking transactions. This power of attorney and any other prior advanced directives were revoked by this court in an order dated December 5th, 2017. The court ordered in its conclusion that Dillon return all misappropriated assets and funds. TV6 News was able to confirm through immigration sources that Dillon had left the country in February of this year to attend the latest court hearing. We were also able to confirm that he left the country also last year in early November, as well as a few other times prior to that. We obtained a picture of him here seen attending the New York court, sitting in the back bench. Over the last few days, TV6 News have been trying to reach out to U.S. legal sources to inquire if any criminal charges were being contemplated against Dillon.
I didn't say all of that. The UNC didn't say that. That's a court documents there. So, listen. You could see a stark contrast in leadership between Rowley and myself. When I was the Prime Minister, I knew fully well that public confidence and trust in cabinet ministers should not be questioned. So when questions arose, I acted decisively. Ask Arthur Roberts. He's here tonight. When the questions arose, I acted decisively. The matter with Anand Ramlogan was no different. There were allegations, was one man's word against Anand. What did I do? I didn't tell Anand, I said, Anand, go on Barbara and say he's innocent and whatever. I asked him to resign, and he did. The same thing with Jack Warner. There was no court case before him, but given the allegations in the public domain that were very damaging to Trinidad and Tobago, again, we asked him to give up his office. I have already mentioned that the PNM also has this protocol with Franklin Kahn, with Eric Williams, Roberts, and so on. Marlene, poor Marlene. I see Marlene is my sister. I admire that lady, but I think they're tapping up and abusing and using Marlene. But she's a good soul, No, she is a good person. We have differences of opinion on the aisle, you know, the PNM UNC, but she's a good woman. But that's the attitude they have to women anyhow. So Marlene is in the middle of that. So why you fired her twice? I made that point before. So there is a precedent, there is a protocol in all of this. But this Prime Minister will not act. This Prime Minister doesn't have the testicular fortitude to act. I had no such thing, but I knew when I had to act. And I did act. I had to do it to protect the integrity of the government. Go clear your name. And the doors are open, but not this Prime Minister. You have an Attorney General with his children brandishing guns. Nothing has happened. You have another minister, what is he, a Senator Lester or something? DUI plus lied to a court, misled a court, still sitting there. You have, well, he's former, so he's gone. You have Darrell Smith, we mentioned earlier. You have so many ministers of his government. So many ministers of his government, the Prime Minister will not act. And Barry must be right, just follow the leader, follow the leader, follow the leader. Because they're all trumping and following suit in their behavior towards the people. So here we are. I'm saying, first of all, there's a precedent and there's a protocol. Look, this is not about Mr. Dillon, the man or the person. This is about the integrity of Trinidad and Tobago, the state of Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, the headlines internationally is Minister of National Security Trinidad and Tobago answering to claims of fraud. Not in Trinidad, in a court in where? In New York. That is exceedingly damaging given already the problems we have with crime in this country, the crime with terrorists and so on. How can you stay there? On top of which he has been the worst performing Minister of National Security. Why are you keeping him? And you know, I have to ask this question. They say he's traveling up and down to New York. Who is paying for those bills? Who is paying when he goes off to court in New York? Is it your dollars? Taxpayer dollars? Tell us. Come out and tell us. Who is paying for his lawyers? Is it taxpayer dollars? And that would explain why AG, that guy, Rawi, that loquacious guy, he always talks too much, will come out and don't even know what's going on. Matter in court. Big lawyer Faris, you know something called sub judice? I think ordinary people know when the case is in court. Don't talk about the case. He come to decide what the lady land grabbing. He already decide. He already judged the case. Big Attorney General embarrassing himself on Trinidad and Tobago. So who is paying for all of this? And then I want to ask again, who is his lawyer? Is it local lawyers? Is it foreign lawyers? I already asked who's paying them. How long did Keith Rowley know about this? Why he waited until the story bust? Why? Why did he wait until Mark Bassan and others? Oh no, last week, the story came out last week. This thing happened in the court up there since when? Last year. Months ago. And this Prime Minister sits on that information. Is it that the man didn't tell him? When they interviewed Dillon, he said, yeah, I told the Prime Minister. So what? That means all is well because you told him. What has the Prime Minister done? What has he done when they asked Dillon? So what the Prime Minister said, that is confidential, we cannot discuss it. And so, I'm saying, there are so many questions in this entire thing, but the worst, as I say, is the embarrassment and the tarnishing of the name of Trinidad and Tobago. So who's paying? How long did Rowley know? Why did they hide it? When Rudy tried to ask the question in Parliament, they disallowed the question. When I tried to ask, as Barry told you, that Parliament, we have to do something, you know. Because when you ask these questions, they don't allow the question. And even when they answer the question, it's a total foolish answer. They don't answer the questions. But you know, I told my members, they said, look, we asked this question at a caucus last week. And they said, well, we asking this question and don't really answer. So should we keep masking? I said yes, because the people are seeing, the people are watching, the people are hearing, and they will see what this government is doing. And so we have a lot of questions. So you ask me what I want to say about Dylan. I said, Dylan, pick up your bundle and go. Pick up your bundle and go. Resign. And if you do not resign, Prime Minister Rowley, do your duty and fire Dylan now. He needs to go now before he damages Trinidad and Tobago further. Clears his name, he comes back, no problem. But right now, it is too damaging to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the government. As I close, we know about crime. We have 85 or 86 days, 131 murders. Crime just went up, okay? It's just going up since September. And the Prime Minister, as I told you, went to Diego Martin, which is his homeland, his constituency. By the way, Prime Minister, how come that's your constituency? How come you only had 112 people there? How come in your own constituency? I heard when they came to La Hoqueta for the meeting, they had one here recently, yes? They said they were very disappointed how small the crowd was. So they said, listen, they said, look, let's go Diego Martin. Diego Martin is my home seat and so on. Go on Diego Martin, 112 people. What's happening? Prof, something is happening. Maybe people have moved out of Diego Martin because things so bad up there, I don't know. And so they go to Diego Martin, and this is what he says. He said, Lord, I mentioned you, how much more must we endure? He doesn't seem to understand. He gives the impression it is not him and his government who are the authorities to help fight crime, to prevent crime. And he goes without saying, he places the blame always on the police. Prime Minister Rowley, we had the same police force. We had the same Commissioner of Police Williams. But we were able to bring serious crimes down to the lowest in 33 years. Same police force, same commissioner. But you know what was different? We had good ministers, and we had a damn good Prime Minister. Thank you very much. And so, what they're saying now, totally different from when they're in opposition, you know. If the government can't deal with crime, the government is part of the, remember, Rowley? All the plans they had, you know, all the proposals they put in their manifesto, they put in their budget. You know, up to date, not one single crime-fighting policy have they put in place. Not one from their entire manifesto and from their budget present. Not one. Not one. Why? Remember why I said we brought it down? You know why we understood? We understood. And I still say we have a lot more to do. That is why you have to vote again. That is why you have to put us back into office to continue the work. We understood that the catalyst for crime reduction in every country is through government policies. The police don't make policy, they are law enforcement. Where does policy making come from? It comes from the government. That's why you elect them. These policies are both through legislation and through non-legislation, through law enforcement. And this is when there are powerful anti-crime policies established by government, we can see the crime turn around. That is what we did. When there are poor policies, all that does is waste money and time. The crime doesn't go down. In fact, it may even go up. And so I want to show you 3 versions of what happened. I'll take you through very quickly 2002 to 10. The Mr. Manning's policies. Mr. Manning understood that staying in your shoes and wandering, passing the buck onto police was not the way to go. So he did try. He did policies in play. He put in several. He had the blimp, he had SWORD, the Augusta choppers, he had the OPVs planned and so on. Of course, these did not work. The results showed that, in fact, crime was at its highest prior to 2010 when we went in. Homicides reached 548, kidnappings, armed robbery, every serious crime, all-time high prior to 2010. You all remember that. What was comical is that with all the failings of these policies, as a record would show from the statistics, you know, this Rowley government and his gang, you know what? They are blaming Kamala for demolishing all these failed policies of the PNM. They didn't work. That's why we moved them out. So the Goodyear blimp, the sort where we spent billions, The purchase of choppers, 1.5 billion and so on. We had to shut them down because guess what? The crime wasn't going down. It was going up. So here we come now, 2010, 2015, in our time. There were over 23 national security policies that we put in place. Very quickly, National Operations Center, Rapid Response Unit, Highway Patrol, Committee Patrol, the restructuring of the ENA9, the GPS and the police vehicles, the Maritime Security Wall, we got the 12 vessels, the replacing the defective OPVs, the National Security Operations Group, Covert Operative Security Group, many others. And we'll continue to develop these as we talk to you. But you know what was the result 2010, 2015? I said serious crimes came down, lowest 31 years, and thereafter now is 33 years. Every serious crime under my watch, our watch, was reduced by 25 to 83% by your People's Partnership government. Every single serious crime. There was the highest visibility of law enforcement ever seen. Law enforcement became accountable and was being monitored. Citizens started to feel safer. Citizens started to trust the police. And you know, there was one less serious crime in every minute of every day, in every month, in the last year that we were in office than there was in the previous regime in 2009. This meant that every minute in 2014, one less person was murdered under our watch. In every minute I'm talking about, you know, add up the minutes for the year and you'll get the numbers. One less minute, one less person, was kidnapped, raped, tortured, cast stolen, robbed, etc. than before we came into office in 2010. The reason for this is because as your Prime Minister, I knew where the buck stopped and I took the decisive action by having relevant officials in government. They drafted the policies, they brought them forward, and we put these policies in place. You cannot bring down crime by blaming the police and blaming Kamala and blaming the UNC and blaming the whole world. And crying and weeping and wailing and gnashing teeth. You can't bring down the crime. You must have the policies and implement those policies. They have none. No plan, no policy. As a Prime Minister, I did not sit back and do nothing. We worked, I gave you some. They've shut down some of these programs, you know. The Comfort, was it Committee Comfort, Patrol, and so they shut it down. So since then, that's our watch. Post 2015, enter the red and ready Rowley PNM. And I want you to distinguish your Rowley PNM from the other PNM, because there's a big, big difference. This Rowley PNM will ride roughshod over anybody. This Rowley PNM is the 1% big people party. You must see the difference to understand why we must move them out of office. And so in contrast to the Manning regime, my regime, when policies were seen under Manning, some didn't work and so on, the others I just shared with you, this administration, Rowley, has proven to be totally clueless and incompetent. Not one single, as I told you, policy to bring the crime down. Just look at their budget. When the homicide rate was the highest since 2008, their only anti-crime plan was a claim to set up some neighborhood outreach. You know what? We had that already under something known as the CSP. So they give it a fancy new name, but guess what? They did not implement. I have discovered they did not have a clue about a single policy. And that is what I'm saying. They will never be able to bring the crime down with that kind of attitude and that kind of behavior in governance. So this is why they will continue to fail in reducing crime. They do not understand that the buck stops with them, with the Prime Minister and his government. That the government must implement policies so police can operate. Secondly, they are clueless, they are void of ideas to bring policies of substance to reduce crime. So what is the answer? We give them grade E. Call the election now. Call the election now. My friends, I've had a longer than time talking with you. I'll talk to you another night of how they continue to fool you, to try to fool you, or by lying. Went up in Diego Martin and talking about, we're going to sell you shares in the government companies. We'll make you rich and you will own government companies. You hear a lie, another lie. I saw the people on the texting, on the Facebook listening. I said, oh yes, we're going to get rich now. We could become the 1%. Look, but talking about selling our shit. You hear a lie? That is a big, big, big lie. Because I have seen with my own eyes, I had the documents there, but I'll just talk it. I've seen it. They came and they mentioned TGU, one of the most profitable companies owned by the government here. TGU, Trinidad Generation, down in the south. They want to sell it now, okay? They need money, you know, and they need money to sell your stove, your fridge. They're selling everything that belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. A piper. Well, not going there, not going there. That's a friend, okay. TGU. So they brought a cabinet minute and they said, okay, let's go sell TGU. We need money and that's an asset and we can make some money. Let's go sell it. They brought that cabinet note, okay? Just looking for the date. But anyway, they brought it, and in that cabinet note, first of all, the Minister of Finance had announced in his 2016-17 budget that they intended to sell TGU assets. Upon his for a cost of $600 million. Then in his midterm review, May 10, 2017, he says, look, we'll divest TGU and we will dispose of 20% of the sharehold to local institutional investors. Hear the word, local institutional investors. Will be like UTT, the institutions, but locally, okay? We propose that the new shareholder would hold 40% with another 10% to the public and local investors here. The proceeds should now bring 3 billion to 5 billion. So first it was going 600 million, jumped to 3 to 5, but you know what was happening? That was good. Maybe. We were the first government to give the people of Trinidad and Tobago a share in the energy assets of Trinidad and Tobago when we offered the IPO. Which one was it, please? Phoenix Park, in the energy assets of our country. We did it. Here they are, boasting in Diego Martin the other night, we're going to sell to the poor people, all they could get rich, buy shares, save your money. They come back May 25th, 2017, and they agreed they're going to sell 40% of TGU. To whom? The company called Ferrostal. Sounds familiar? Ferrostal. You know, Ferrostal is the people who build the plant in the first place. They're going to sell 40%, not to you locals. Who they selling it to? Ferrostal, the foreigners. I would like to ask that Prime Minister whether on January 13th he received a private courtesy call from whom? Ferrostal. Is that what made them change their minds about selling it to the locals, to you and me, and instead sell 40% to Ferrostal? I tell you, it's a big people party, you know. It's not about you and me and the small man in this country. Big people party. Did he receive that? I don't expect these answers today because I asked it since the budget last year. They haven't answered not a word. You're going to sell out the patrimony of Trinidad and Tobago to Ferrostal and boast on a platform you're selling it to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We are not foolish. We will do everything we can to expose what you're doing in this process. So there is more on that. I share this with you tonight. I want to thank you all very much for coming out. We have more to speak on. Next Monday night meeting will be in Maruga Tableland. And that will be on the 9th of April. We'll share the venue with you. And like here, we've put a great team to coordinate Maruga Tableland. Please acknowledge Dr. Carleen Baino Suku, our coordinator down in Maruga Tableland, together with Randy Ramadasing. Long live the UNC! Long live the people of Trinidad and Tobago! Long live all of you sitting here. God bless you and thank you.
We'd like to extend the song that I'm about to do for you tonight. Before you leave, we like to dedicate it to those who have lost their loved ones over the crimes that have been occurring in our country. And thinking that there's no one out there that cares because their life has been passed on. We grieve for those people. I grieve for those people. Not because it hasn't reached home, mean that you don't have to care. So this one goes out to you all.
So this is who I am, and this is all I know, and I must choose to live for all that I can give, the spark that makes the power grow, and I will stand for my dreams.